Hey, hello, howdy, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of They Know, a series where zombies within 150 tiles are pinged to my exact location every 10 in-game minutes. Last episode saw us cruising into Ekron and Rosewood to raid police stations, libraries, schools, and a prison. Today, we'll be heading back into Riverside before checking out West Point, along with doing some prep work for our grand finale. With an unquenchable thirst for bloodshed and the rage of a hormonal Sum 41 fan, I set off for West Point's gun store. There's really no rhyme or reason as to why I chose to head there first instead of stocking up on food other than the fact that I'm a slut for guns. I loaded the back of my Bundy mobile with a MAC-10, a Beretta, a shotgun, a machete, and enough ammo to light up a small town. Judging from how bad Riverside has been, I was anticipating at least double that while heading into West Point. I also didn't do myself any favors as I ended up driving through the entire town instead of sticking to the highway and looping in from the east. Because of this, I ended up pulling thousands of zombies from throughout the town, sending all of them in the general direction of Twiggy's. This is a little deadlier than it sounds and looks, since even if I'm able to go out of their range initially, they'll likely walk themselves right back into it once I park. After making it to the gun store parking lot, I hopped out of the van, equipped with a shotgun and just over 300 shells. It's entirely worth noting that this video has a considerable amount of combat in it, specifically kiting zombies and utilizing various weapons in the Firearms 41 mod to take them down. If that doesn't interest you, I totally get it, and it may either be worth skipping this section, which I'll have chaptered out for you, or might I suggest watching them on 2x speed to really pick up your perception of time. Anyway, the shotgun did most of the work early on, and I was able to spend around 8 hours with it before running out of shells. Normally I'd panic here since shotguns are the safest weapon to use in these situations, but we're around a month in at this point and I have the luxury of just saying F it and whipping out around 1,300 rounds of 9mm ammo and swapping over to the Beretta, allowing me to fire blindly into the crowd in a spectacle that make the citizens of Chicago proud. The most difficult portion of this fight came at around 1 in the morning, when it's pitch black out and all I have to see is a single light outside of Twiggy's. Oh, and a seizure-inducing muzzle flash. At around 4 AM the following morning, I noticed I was getting corpse sickness. There's not all that much I can do at this point since the zombie numbers are slowly depleting, and if I move too far out of the zone, I'm going to end up pulling more just outside of that 150 tile range. Normally that's not much of a problem, but I've already burned through over 400 rounds of ammo, I'm ridiculously tired, anxious, and hungry. The best course of action is to stay put, deal with the sniffles, and finish off the remaining zombies as fast as possible so I can get on with my life. I also noticed that throughout the fighting during the night, I was bugging out the lighting. There's a good amount that I managed to catch at around 5:20 this morning, where God shuts off the lights on me just to be a dick. Anyway, I was able to successfully clear out the area around 16 hours after arriving and use my sledgehammer to break into the gun store. Obviously, it was full of guns and ammo, so I targeted weapons that I didn't have or that were in much better condition than my current ones. Along with these, I tried to grab any ammo of use. Basically, if I had a gun that fired it, I took it. Surprisingly, I found 2 SKSs and another AK here. I didn't really need them since I already had one of each, but I did take the AK mag for later use. With the weapon store looted, I headed upstairs into Twiggy's. If you don't know, the second floor is large enough that you don't proc panic if you're claustrophobic, so you can sleep here without having to deal with that. As an added security measure, I took one of the tables apart and placed it at the top of the stairs so that it would stop any zombies from walking up here. This actually ended up saving my life since a zombie had followed me into Twiggy's and began hitting the table as soon as I tried to sleep. Instead of wasting time with him, I decided to just hop back in the van and head back to base. Along the way, I decided to swing by the police station and see if there was anything worth grabbing there, but quickly changed my mind when I remembered that this isn't Riverside, and I just stirred up all of the zombies in the area by driving directly through the center of the town just 24 hours prior. This was actually pretty cool to see the zombies cluster this way though, and led to some pretty chaotic moments on my way back, especially since I clearly didn't learn my lesson and thought the smartest thing to do would be to drive directly through the center of West Point again instead of just hopping onto the highway. After taking the rest of the day to drive back to base and rest up, I re-geared and set out for the Riverside Gigamart. I'm almost completely out of food at this point, and my crops are still a week or so away from harvesting. Since we have a ton of fun new toys to play with, along with a stockpile of ammo, I figured hitting a larger POI like this would have a high success rate compared to going door to door on some of the neighborhood houses, or trying to gather a few days worth of food from the farmhouses out in the county. The only other alternative was trapping or foraging, and to be honest, I'd rather eat glass than spend a day doing that. The drive-in felt oddly quiet, almost as if I was just here a few days ago, recreating Operation Iraqi Freedom. Unfortunately, it didn't take long for zombie clusters to organize and mount a counterattack, ambushing me while I was deep-throating sticks of butter. At the time, I'd been binge-watching World War II history videos like any other dad tends to do, and thought this would be a perfect time to break out a vintage weapon of the time period. This ended up taking the majority of the day, but also led to some incredibly close calls, so I'll let it play out similarly to the West Point scene. Again, it's chaptered out, so if this isn't your thing, you can always speed past it. After fighting through zombies for several hours, I was able to clear an opening to escape through. Unfortunately for me, it didn't factor in the power of corpses strewn about the ground, and managed to flip my car while driving back to base. On my way back, I figured I might as well hit up the gas station to the northwest of me. It's a small single pump station that's seemingly abandoned, so I didn't anticipate many zombies being in the area. In actuality, there were almost as many zombies here as there were in the residential area of Riverside, because we've managed to break zombie pathing so hard at this point that the game just doesn't know what to do anymore. The fight continued way longer than it should have. I'm honestly not sure what I was hoping to accomplish here. It was already late, almost pitch black, and there were way too many zombies for such a small potential reward. Like seriously, I'm fighting dozens of zombies for what? A bag of chips? Like, it doesn't make sense. Eventually I came to my senses and just went home empty-handed. Well, actually worse than empty-handed. After dealing with an unwelcome guest the next morning, I did some housekeeping. Really just a lot of stuff I've been putting off in favor of causing chaos in the community. Built out a small library and stocked it with all my books and magazines before leveling up my carpentry to level 6 while adding some additional storage crates. With that taken care of, I spent the rest of the day cleaning up the junk strewn about the floor. The following morning, I set off for the warehouse to grab a truck that I left behind a while back. Given the events of yesterday, I've got to travel to the warehouse on foot since I have the driving skills of a methed up Dale Earnhardt and managed to wreck both vans already. Naturally, this led to me just walking down the middle of the road with a machete, slaughtering any zombies that even remotely wandered into my view. I reached the warehouse by that evening and began the process of clearing out the zombies. A lot of them had either respawned or migrated over here by this point, so this has become more of a chore than what I was hoping for. If you're wondering why I don't just hop in the truck and drive off, well, it's out of fuel. And with the zombies in the area, I'm not able to buy myself enough time to dump a quick gallon into the tank and get out of there. Wasn't all bad though. I did manage to loot a fire axe off a corpse along with a hand axe from one of the warehouses while I was kiting zombies around. Now that we have a working vehicle, enough food to last until the harvest, and secure defenses, we can focus on the upcoming grind. I'm planning something massive for the finale, and for that I'll need over 250 planks. There's going to be a small time jump between episodes 4 and 5 since I'll be doing most of the grinding off screen. This is in order to save you the boredom of watching me chop trees and saw logs for a week straight. So with that, I think we're going to end it here. Currently I'm sitting at 2,221 kills. Not bad, considering the entirety of the county wants me dead and knows where I live. This is what my skills look like for those interested in tracking progress there as well. Very special thank you to all my YouTube members and Patreon supporters. You allow me to wake up every morning excited to get to work. I appreciate you all. And as always, thanks for stopping by.